tell you in one word. Suspicion. 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 Who day and night makes you scramble for a living, dumps down all our children and poisons all our food, and who runs the banks from a shadow government and had Miley Cyrus twerk the New World Order. Suspicion, the New World Order.
L'chaim!
Oh, David Flora. It's nice to... It's just kind of fun to do.
Hey, everybody, it's Blurry Photos. I am David Flora.
And I'm David Stecco.
And welcome to the podcast.
Yeah, we did not pay Topol
No,
to be here.
nor Zero Mostel.
Definitely not Zero Mostel. It ain't just a clever name, all right, on a scale of 1 to 10.
God. Hey, you asked for it, you fuckers, and you are getting it right now.
That's right. I have been waiting patiently for this to happen, and now it has.
Have you?
Yes.
Yes.
Not patiently. That part was a lie. But waiting.
You are the voice of the people on this. I think.
I am.
You're the people's champion.
And so
you have the people's elbow, and you hit me with it constantly.
With all your rooty toot and
Rudy Poo candy ass.
Rudy Poo candy ass. That's it. See, I don't know.
Nigga toots, y'all.
I'm more of a macho man. Oh, yeah. Oh, I can't wait to open up this particular box tonight. Oh, yeah.
Do you smell what the cat is?
I wish that you guys could have seen the weird thing Flora's tongue just did.
That's what The Rock did, yo.
I don't know. I'm a Randy Macho Man Savage guy.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
the him and The Rock, two very different times. For pro wrestling.
Yeah. Well, tonight you asked for it, you got it.
Yeah.
We're talking about the Dybbuk Box.
I'm so proud of you. You said that, and you've only spotted your pants a little bit.
It's not a scary thing. I just don't want to lose the audio. That's
right.
all. That's all.
No, that's
so
fine.
We'll tell you why the superstition abounds.
Oh yeah.
And why I'm not scared. I don't want to lose the audio. That's all that matters to me.
I think that it'll be fine because we are going to be very respectful, as we already have been in this podcast.
We've lost audio before. It's not fun.
I know.
We've had to re-record an episode.
Yep. We'll never tell you which one.
Never tell you.
Because
You'll never
we don't want
guess.
you to know that maybe sometimes we knew what we were going to say. Just that one time.
I think the lost audio was better than the.
It always is. It always is.
For sure. So hey, what the hell's a Dybbuk box, and where did it come from? What can it do? What does it do? Is it real? What are the explanations? All the stuff. We're just gonna get our stank all over.
Oh man, we truly are. We've we've been sitting on this powder keg for a long time, and it's time for it to blow up in your ears.
A week away from Guy Fawkes, and we're still gonna see some fireworks.
Yeah, we've been sitting on this thing, and it's time for everyone to know. So kick it off, Dybbuk Box.
Yeah. So this particular piece of paranormal furniture came into public attention around 2003 when it was put on eBay.
Yeah, the source of this mystery, motherfucking eBay. So you know it's good.
And it was put on there along with a pretty disturbing backstory. But before getting to that story, let's talk about the name.
Yeah.
Let's break this down a little bit.
Who put the Dybbuk in the box, y'all?
It's my Dybbuk in a box.
Dybbuk in a box. 1. Cut a hole in a box. 2. Put a vengeful spirit in that box. 3.
Don't you open that box.
eBay that box.
eBay that. All right. So in Jewish folklore, an evil spirit which enters into a living person and possesses them, latching onto their soul and causing the person to not be themselves and show signs of mental illness, among other things, is called a Dybbuk.
Yep.
Or a Dybbuk. But it can go either way, so we're going to go with the Dybbuk.
Don't worry, we'll debunk this later.
It's more folklore, as it doesn't appear in Talmudic literature nor in the Kabbalah. Instead, the term evil spirit is what appears and is considered synonymous.
Mm-hmm. And there are people who believe in functionally an equivalent of a Jewish witchcraft.
Right.
You know, that is again very folklore based. Very little really known about it.
Yeah. In Hebrew, the term Dybbuk means to cling or cleave. It appears in 16th and 17th century folkloric literature from the spoken language of German and Polish Jews. So that's where we first start seeing it on paper. The act of attachment of the spirit to a body became the name, basically. Mm-hmm. So Dybbuk, to attach, to a soul, spirit. Then they're just like, well, that sounds good enough. It's believed to be the dislocated spirit of a dead person, either not laid to rest or whose sins were so enormous that they were denied transmigration of the soul. Thus, they sought refuge in living bodies. Mm-hmm. It kind of becomes synonymous with demons and is even called demon because of Christian influence, actually.
Right. And that's, people like to use the terminology they're familiar with.
Right.
And so it gets kind of drawn into that. But in Judaism, there's no heaven, there's no hell. And so there's no demons, so those differences are important, even though to, someone of a more Christian mind, like, oh, it's demon possession, right?
Right.
Not really.
Right. The conceptions grew from a combination of Jewish and non-Jewish beliefs. So that's why you get Dybbuk being synonymous with demon and possession. I didn't see anything that said it was the same thing as maybe a jinn, but I would be surprised if that didn't crop up somewhere throughout time.
Yeah, exactly.
And there's even the thought that they were used to encourage uniformity of belief or action by fear. So it's kind of like saying the rules that we have, do them right, or you invite a Dybbuk in.
Right.
Don't mess up, don't be lazy, or you're going to get a Dybbuk. So it's kind of a fear-based motivator.
Right, yeah. And, I guess it'll get the job done.
It's considered a negative demonic possession, with protocols in some Kabbalistic literature and manuscripts on how to exorcise them, which is usually performed by accomplished Hasidim. very pious figures in Judaism.
Or from our Ghost Tale episode, you get one of those guys that's just a professional banisher.
Right.
Just have him stay in the house
Make
for a
sure
night.
you give them the money up front. Conversely, a positive possession is known as an ibur.
Which is awesome.
Yeah, you can be possessed by a good spirit, just to basically to accomplish a goal that you otherwise may not be able to.
I particularly like that concept because it's far more insulting. No.
You're not good enough for this.
Steve never would have thought of that on his own. He's clearly being influenced by a supernatural entity because Steve's a dick.
Did Steve just open the door for me?
Oh,
Eber.
Got us an Eber.
Eber. So that's kind of the background of the name and the concept of the Dybbuk itself. So let's talk about this box and the story that goes along with it, shall we?
Yes, please.
The story of this object actually begins, allegedly, in the ghettos of Lodz, Poland, in 1938.
In the ghetto, and my rabbi cried, 'cause if there's one thing that he don't need, it's another rock pouring through the busy streets in the ghetto. Yeah, that's really well done.
That's good.
Flora, don't you understand? Dave needs a helping hand. We're gonna have a big ass old podcast someday. All right, that's it. That's all the Elvis.
Big ass old podcast.
That's right. Well, that's actually our next podcast. Dave and Dave's Big Ass Old Podcast. Tonight we're shooting off guns. Let's go chase critters.
Great.
Actually, that sounds like a great podcast.
Dave and Dave.
That's our YouTube channel.
Big ass podcast.
You're welcome. This is Chasing Critters with Dave and Dave. Today we got us a whole mess of possum. And, well, we're just going to get right to it.
Don't want to waste no time.
Maestro, if you please.
So, anyways, back to the ghettos of Poland.
Back to World War II in Poland.
So, around this time, Spiritism was in vogue.
Yep.
Good old popular Spiritism that we've dealt with before. People coughing up all muslin and butter and all that good stuff.
Ectoplasm and readings and seances and...
Yeah. Well,
hooliganism.
Some women were playing around with a spirit board and holding seances.
Yep.
And apparently reached a true spirit that started recurring on subsequent seances to them. Seeming to gain more and more influence and perhaps become more sinister, the women decided to bring it fully into the physical world and bind it.
That's ballsy.
It is ballsy.
Like, because it starts with, like, I mean... Where's the... I mean, I guess I know we keep mentioning it a lot lately, but the movie The Craft may have covered this territory, but the progression from, I'm bored, let's play with the Ouija board, 2 weeks later, and in darkness I bind this ethereal spirit to me.
I kind of think of it as like that neighbor that's like, hey, how you doing? Oh, what's going on? And then like 2 weeks later, you're like... This guy is crazy.
Yeah.
Let's bind him eternally. And
you come home and he's already on your couch. Hey, started the party without you.
Right, yeah. He's like that creepy dude.
Hey, this is a pants optional sofa, right? Or are you going to be a dick about it?
Hey, you want to come shooting some possum with us later? So they did. They bound it, and they were successful.
Yep.
And that is the apparent roots of where the spirit came from, where the Dybbuk came from. So now we skip ahead to 2001.
Now it is the future.
Going straight to the future, and a man named Kevin Mannis.
The future and antiquing.
Kevin Mannis went to an estate sale in Portland, Oregon. The sale was from a Jewish lady that had passed away at age 103.
Whoa, way to go, lady.
She happened to be one of the ladies that bound the spirit. She was also a Holocaust survivor who had fled to Spain during the war, and she had acquired a wine cabinet while there and made it into a storage unit for this bound entity. She brought that to the U.S. with her not long after that.
And not much else. I mean, she brought that and the clothes on her back, but
Right.
she grabbed this cabinet and
sewing
kept
kit.
kept it with her.
And then Manus ends up buying this in this estate sale. He purchases a few things, and this wine cabinet was one of them. And he was approached by the lady's granddaughter, who called it a Dybbuk Box, and relayed that the grandmother emphatically said to never open it.
Yeah, she kept the box very close to her at all times. It was never to be opened.
Wanted to be buried with it.
Yeah.
But because it didn't fit with the Orthodox tradition, it didn't get buried with her.
There's a little plaque in a synagogue that says no furniture with burial.
There's a plaque that says no demons with bodies, please.
Messes with
Shalom.
Messes with the shui.
After a little more conversation with this granddaughter, Manus offered to give it back as a keepsake because it sounded very important to them.
Yeah, she was describing this thing and how important it was to her grandmother, and he felt bad.
Yeah.
He was like, oh, maybe this shouldn't have been sold. I'm so sorry. Here, please take it back. I'll, keep the money. He tried to be a nice guy about it.
Right. And she said, nope.
Yeah, she thought that he was like she kind of misunderstood and was like, oh, no, you bought this and
Right.
it's done. We have completed the transaction.
You made a deal.
No backsies.
She started getting really insistent and kind of oddly emotional about it. And then started yelling at him to keep it and then to basically leave. You bought it.
Yeah.
You made the deal. Get out of here. I don't want to see it.
You got your precious antique. Now go.
So Manus actually owned a small antiques and furniture refinishing business and intended to refinish the cabinet and give it to his mother as a present.
This is why you should never give presents to your parents.
Hey, I just got this box from a dead person. You want it?
All I really need you to do is touch it.
So he took it to his store's basement workshop, and he left it there and went out to run some errands.
Yep.
Whatever.
He's a busy man. He's a small business owner in the big city of Portland.
Right.
We probably needed some chicory.
Trying to get the liberals booed off of his neck.
I feel like everyone in Portland wants to drink coffee, but they're all afraid to because it's popular. So I'll bet you like chicory's real popular in Portland. I don't know. Portland listeners, tell me if I'm an idiot.
Yeah.
But
What do you guys drink? Chicory?
I'm gonna open a chicory store and make a fucking killing.
I'm going to open Hickory Chicory Dock. It's going to be on the water, and it's going to sell rocking chairs and tea. Wait, maybe it should be Hickory Chicory Rock. I'll think about it, and then I'll open it.
You could also sell phalluses.
Oh, okay.
Well, that's how
And
we're going to
dirty
fund this
chives.
podcast with our chicory sales. Get us a banner ad for Gold Medal Chicory Club. That worked out so well for us.
Oh, God. All right. So he goes out to run some errands, and then 30 minutes later, he gets this call from his employee that's there at the store.
We're all out of chicory. But I don't know where to get any. See?
You'll have to get coffee.
Tell no one.
Well, she was actually in hysterics,
Yeah, she was upset.
saying that she was locked in the store and someone was in the workshop swearing and breaking glass and throwing stuff around down there. So he races back to the store and he finds her cowering in a corner. She's a mess, and so he goes to the basement to check and see what's going on. The basement is dark, and at the bottom of the stairs, he gets this powerful whiff of cat urine. And there's absolutely no cats around, nor had there ever been in this place.
Yeah.
The bulbs to the lights had all been broken, and from what I read, that was about 19 in total.
Woof.
Bulbs and fluorescents and everything. No one was in the basement, and there was only one way in and out, and that was the way he came
Right.
in, obviously, and no one had gone past him on the stairs, and no one had come out, when the woman, his employee, was there.
Yeah, she probably would have noticed that.
She would have
what with
noticed
the
that.
terror and all.
So, needless to say, she walked out, never came back, and that was that for the time. So, 2 weeks later, he got to work on refinishing it, and he opens this cabinet.
So this is before the cabinet was opened.
This is before that, yeah. So he just opens it when he starts in a couple of weeks later, and he finds the following in there. 2 wheat pennies from the 1920s, a lock of blonde hair bound by hemp cord, a lock of brown hair bound by hemp cord, a small granite statue engraved with the Hebrew word shalom, a small gold wine goblet, 1 dried rosebud, and a single candle holder with 4 octopus-shaped legs, he describes.
And you're going to find pictures of this online.
Sure.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
You don't have to wonder.
He tried giving them back to the family he bought it from, because he thought, again, these are probably keepsakes. They've probably been in the family. You guys might want these. Nope. They refused. Totally refused. So he put them back in the cabinet, and he finishes refinishing it. And then his mother's birthday rolls around. He gives her this wine cabinet. Thought it might be a nice present.
Which is kind of surprises me at that point. That's the one thing that doesn't make a ton of sense to me. Like, if you're going to refinish a cabinet, you clear it out.
Well, yeah.
Just pointing out, just being a dick about it.
Yeah, you could figure out something to do with, like, why hair? Why would you want to keep hair in there?
I mean, like, I could even understand just for the sake of curiosity, like, because that's a weird collection of things.
Yeah.
But things that are weird about that, U.S. pennies.
Yeah.
Why U.S. currency?
True. Well, yeah.
And like if you're gonna refinish a cabinet, be careful. I can't really lay it over to sand the front of it because there's a bunch of stuff in there that for no reason I'm unwilling to remove.
And there are Hebrew letters carved everywhere on it.
Yeah.
Basically, outside and inside. Speaking of sanding,
right. So anyway, he refinishes it. Maybe he takes everything out and then puts it all back in again.
I'm guessing. Yeah. It's just like, well, this came with it, so
right.
Keep it there. And he gives it to his mother. So he's just given this to his mother. He goes out of the room for 5 minutes, and then another employee of his comes running to get him and says, you got to come, something's wrong with your mom. He goes in there, he finds his mother in a chair beside the box, expressionless, with tears streaming down her face. And it turns out she'd suffered a stroke. So he takes her to the hospital and everything. She is okay. She's still alive and everything. The next day, he went to check on her in the hospital, and she couldn't speak. She'd suffered some paralysis, so she could only point to some letters on a sheet in order to communicate. And he asked her how she was doing, and she spelled out Nogift. And he was like, oh, well, no, I remembered your birthday. I gave you this wine cabinet, I gave it to you yesterday.
Here, let me just put it in bed with you so you remember. Why are you silently screaming?
She got pretty agitated in this state and spelled out Hategift.
That spells hate gift for our illiterate friends.
So at this point, he's still not really connecting the dots on everything that has gone on.
Jesus, sorry, Mom. Listen, I know that you had a stroke and everything, but I don't think it affected the manners part of your brain.
He then tries to give it to his sister, his brother, his girlfriend, and all of them give it back to him with various complaints.
Yeah.
Some of them said that it smelled like jasmine, while their spouse said it smelled like cat piss.
Yeah. Nightmares.
Some of them, complained that something just felt wrong, and they just didn't want it.
Right.
So they all gave it back to him, so he decides to sell it. Mm-hmm. And he does. He's successful. He sells it, but then he returns a couple days later to his house, I guess from work or something, and there it is sitting on his front step with a note that said, "This has a bad darkness." And he's still like, what? Why can I not get rid of this?
It's just a cabinet.
Yeah. Still not connecting any dots for this stuff. And then he starts having nightmares in which he'd be walking along with a loved one, and he'd turn and look at them, and they'd look back, and then suddenly they transform into this hideous old hag and proceed to get on him and beat the living shit out of
Yeah, they
him.
rock him like a hurricane.
Yeah. And then he wakes up and he's got real bruises on him.
Yeah, he's genuinely, actually, physically messed up from it.
Yeah. So then he asks his brother, his sister, everybody he's tried to give it to, and they've all had similar nightmares and experiences like that. So then he starts thinking something's up. Something's a little weird with this because we all had these experiences. The common denominator here is the box.
Yep.
And then he starts seeing shadow beings out of the corner of his eye. And first thought he has is, well, let's destroy it. But then he stops himself, says, no, I don't want to destroy it because maybe then it'll just latch onto me.
Right.
You know?
Because it seems to really be fixated on staying with the cabinet itself. It's staying in the box. I like that everyone else around this guy has no problems very quickly saying this thing's bad news. And he's like, what?
Yeah.
What?
What's going on?
Come on, guys. And here's the thing. He had the most traumatic event of all. It went ape shit in his basement and terrified his coworker.
Yeah, first out of the gate there.
And he's all like, no. What? You know what? I got to tell you, all these things that are happening, they might somehow be related to this box. I think this guy was refinishing furniture as some sort of work release from like a head injury clinic.
Those fumes from the stain.
Yeah, man. Come on.
They are pretty potent. I stained
Wise
some wood recently, and I don't think it affected.
I just recently revarnished a cabinet, and I don't know what evil is anymore. I can no longer perceive darkness.
So there are shadows that are starting to creep up on him, and rather than destroy it, he puts it on eBay.
Right. That's what literally everyone does. Rather than destroy something,
Right.
I'll eBay it. And with this great story.
Right. He writes this whole thing out. He's honest and upfront about it, has no minimum amount. Actually starts out, I think, the bidding at like 99 cents.
Yeah.
He just wants to get rid of it. And he does. A student in Missouri named Yosef Nitzka bought it.
Yosef, you stupid bastard. Don't you know not to buy things from eBay?
Well, he probably bought it because of the story that went along with it.
Well,
It
yeah.
started getting some hype behind it.
Oh, yeah.
And the student buys it. Well, after a little while, he has all the bulbs in his house burned out. He's plagued with these bug infestations, these weird smells. And then the old straw on Yosef the camel here, his hair started to fall out.
Oy.
So he puts it back on eBay. He's like, that's enough.
Yeah. F this.
Yeah. And there it was picked up by a university museum curator named Jason Haxton for the ripe old sum of $280.
Yeah.
So Yosef basically flipped this box.
Right. He was
for a
like,
good profit.
flip this
All
box.
it cost was his hair.
Yeah, I flipped it. Now, this is here's a fun fact I have for you. Now, Jason Haxton is the director of the Museum of Osteopathic Medicine in Kirksville, Missouri.
Bone stuff.
Yep. Yeah.
He's a boner.
He's a boner. Well, osteopathy is a school of medicine that's not. So if you become a doctor, an osteopath, you're a DO instead of an MD.
Okay.
I know this because my very best friend Eric's wife is a DO. And where do you think she got her degree?
Ooh.
Kirksville, Missouri. She is friends with this guy's wife.
Whoa.
Mic drop.
Whoa.
We'll come back to that in a second.
Cool.
What happened to the Haxton family after acquiring this fine cabinet?
I'll tell you what.
Nothing at all. The story ended.
Yeah, that's
Good night.
it.
Here comes listener mail. Oh, no.
iTunes, stumble upon. Bye. No, he claimed to have some experience with physical illness.
Yeah.
He got hives, started coughing up blood, got welts all over his body. His wife apparently got bloody blisters.
What?
They had light bulbs busting in the house. Started having these nightmares, and his camel straw came with a black flame-like mass in his living room that appeared when he and his son were watching TV one night.
Buh.
Yeah.
Now, see, so the end of this is that my friend's wife knows this woman, and she carries no permanent illness, no effects of it. And she knew this woman for years, apparently never speaks of it.
Yeah.
She had no idea that any of this had happened.
Yeah. I mean, from the stuff that I gathered when I was researching, none of them were particularly into paranormal stuff.
Right.
And Jason Haxton actually still is very skeptical of stuff. He very much takes a scientific approach to things, but leaves, the spiritual side open. And the wife is even more removed from the paranormal stuff.
Right. And, they both work in a medical school. This museum is part of a medical school. And I can see that. And the thing that really lends credence to that is that I think with something like this that is completely not understood or difficult to understand, and it scares you, you don't know what's doing it, people don't talk about things like they just as soon leave well enough alone. And Jason was the first one to really do the thorough research on this,
right,
and came up with a plan because he wasn't going to have it.
Yeah. And what he did was lock it in the basement, and hopefully, that would get rid of everything. Everything would stop. Well, it didn't.
Right. I think it started in a basement, and that didn't go well for the basement. It hates light bulbs.
Apparently,
incandescence.
It attracted a ton of bugs. In particular, those, we call them silverfish in Chicago, I think. They're the little centipede-looking things that are always just scooting across the wall.
House centipedes.
House centipedes, yeah. They called them scorpion centipedes, I think.
Or perhaps Scutagera coleoptrata. Oh, that's an entomologist, E-Peen.
But they're not, are they really centipedes?
Sorry
or is
about
it
this.
like, what, a family?
Oh, my God. That thing is big.
Right. That's your degree, right?
Yeah. They actually are centipedes.
They are.
Yeah.
How many legs do they have?
It's various.
Oh, weird. Because they lose them in like gang fights and stuff. Right?
In gang fights.
So
they're predators of spiders. So
yeah, I hate them.
Nobody likes them. They're too fast for anybody's peace of mind.
They're fast and they're nasty looking.
Yeah.
Never had one do anything to me, but they just look nasty.
And they don't die clean. It's
No.
like they just instantly turn into the biggest leggy, twitchy mess on earth.
They curl up, and I don't know.
That's Scutagera coleoptrata, ladies.
I've got a lot of spiders in my place, so I think I feel pretty good that my house is clear of these little fuckers.
Oh, man, that's the hardest thing. I ask myself 100 times, like, what would I rather have, the spiders or the centipedes?
Yeah. I'd rather have the spiders, personally. They take care of the other shit. These Spudolatra phenylalanines, they go after the spiders, and then they're just dicks.
Yeah, but what are the spiders taking care of that's worse than a spider? Nothing.
Spiders don't bother me. Flies bother me.
I have a degree in entomology, and I hate spiders.
Well, I have a degree in theater, and I hate house centipedes. Anyway, gets a lot of these things attracted. And not like, oh, look, there's 5 of those fucking house centipedes. Hundreds of them.
Oh, my God.
Writhing around in the basement there.
That is the biggest Hebe-inducing GB mechanism. Ugh.
In the weeby.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they got rid of them or, called in an exterminator or what.
Flamethrower.
Yeah, they went all Contra on them. But,
yeah.
But then they get this weird thing. They get this white mold that creeps across the basement. And if the house centipedes weren't enough, the spiders in the basement were enveloped by this white mold. And it apparently killed them so fast because when spiders die they curl up and they get all dumb about it, but like this mold froze them. It was almost like a frost that went over them, and they could just mid web spinning, basically you could see these spiders just on the walls and the ceilings and in the corners. So there was no curling up or anything. It just enveloped them and smothered them and killed them. And apparently this white mold was something that was going around killing bats and things like that.
I remember hearing about that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was a big deal.
Yeah. So that was weird.
Yeah.
And he was still having, I guess, nightmares and just bad things happen too. So what's he do? He consults with rabbis and decides to reseal the Dybbuk.
See, now this is the first guy who decided to play the game by the game's rules.
Right. And not just like stare it in the face and
yeah, he's like,
what?
Yeah, he's like, this is a problem. This is a job for a rabbi.
So he ends up sealing this thing, the whole cabinet, in an ark made of acacia wood lined with 24 karat gold, which apparently calmed the effects of it.
Yeah.
And then he has since buried it in a place nobody knows.
Yeah, mystery buried place.
Yeah. So nobody can get to this thing. And I think he even went so far as to put the whole ark in military casing as well.
Wow.
So like he sealed it up right.
Yeah, that thing is...
It'll be there.
That thing will come back for like little kids with rocket belts and holographic eyes. They're going to find it and it's going to wreck their lives.
Right. Or the roach people that come out of everything on top.
But what is the thing going to do in the future where there's no light bulbs? How's it going to express its
It's going to be extra angry.
and everyone only drinks chicory because coffee's extinct.
Hello is back there. So that's where we're at with it.
That's the current state of the union in Dybbuk Town.
Right. Mr. Haxton has been quoted as saying something to the effect of he didn't want to get rid of it because he felt like if he got rid of it, then it wouldn't be in his control.
Right.
He wouldn't be able to do something about this stuff that was happening to him.
Technically, I think if history has proven anything, he'd have to work really hard to get rid of it because it's not an easy thing. People are unwilling to accept it for long.
Right. So let's talk a little bit more about these effects.
Yeah.
That happens to people. Besides the physical illness, like we've mentioned, that being hives and welts and bleeding of the eyes and hair loss and all that good stuff.
It's like, it reads like a bottle of Propecia.
And the bulbs bursting around it. The smells, the bugs.
The writhing masses of centipedes.
And black shadows. Apparently, it can affect electronics.
Truly, this is a thing of evil.
And there's a superstition along with it that says even discussing it invites bad effects.
But we're not superstitious, are we?
Well, that's where this whole bullshit stems from.
Yeah.
I don't want anything to happen to our shit.
All right.
I think the thought there is it's kind of a you get what you give.
Yeah.
That whole idea. So if you think positive thoughts, positive things will come to you. If you think negative thoughts, you're going to get a bunch of shit.
What if you're thinking positive thoughts about the Dybbuk Box?
It probably takes out all the bulbs. I don't know. But I think the thought there is if you concentrate on this thing and this thing being such an evil thing, it's going to invite in the evil spirit to your life at that moment or at that time, for as long as you concentrate on it or think about it.
Yeah.
So all this research that we've done, it's been great. It's wonderful. I'm just waiting for the fucking hammer to drop.
The hammer won't drop, and I'll tell you why.
All right.
Because we are very upbeat and positive people.
I just got a new apartment.
Oh, see?
I just signed a new lease. So,
Biggity boom,
yeah.
boom. New digs for Flora.
Before I researched this pod.
Potentially new recording studio for us then.
Maybe.
Yeah, we
Something
might
with some carpet.
We might move our sweet operation to Shangri-Flora so that in addition to recording the podcast, editing it, dealing with the music, and all these things, now he won't also have to travel in order to record it. So we can take that off your very full list of things you do for the podcast.
You also get to see my dog.
I like your dog. Your dog occasionally likes me, but not all the time.
Yeah, you just have to come over more.
Duly done.
She'll get used to you.
I'm gonna fix it.
There's also this weird tendency for owners of the box or people that are in possession of it to get real Gollum about stuff.
Oh.
They do not like to give it up. In fact, I think Jason Haxton has even said at some point, or so I've read, that he would want it buried with him when he goes.
That's really interesting.
Which is the same thing as the old Jewish lady said.
Yeah, also he's been known to rant about tricksy hobbitses.
There's also the fact that he eats raw fish.
Raw and wriggling. Oh, that was really good.
What's taters, precious? What?
What?
Taters.
How on earth is this the first time I'm hearing this out of you?
I don't know.
You think you know a man.
Fat habits.
That's belief. The Dybbuk Box just broke my ability to say brilliant or awesome. I don't know what. I just said that's belief. And then called it a day.
What's belief, precious?
Yeah, this thing is everybody's precious, man.
But it doesn't make you invisible.
I don't know. Has anybody tried to wear it? Maybe that's the problem.
Oh, shoot, man. Good Halloween costume ideas for next year. Be a Dybbuk Box.
Yikes.
Dybbuk in a box. And there's like the amount of modern quote unquote folklore and supposition and fiction that surrounds us, because it's a good story. I mean, like it's fascinating.
Mm-hmm.
They've made movies about it. I haven't seen it. I was supposed to this weekend and I didn't. So I'm a bad person.
I watched it.
What'd you think?
You know what? As
what was it called?
It's The Possession.
Okay.
That's what it's called. On Netflix streaming, if you have that, go and watch it. I'll tell you what, I did not have high hopes for it going into it, and it surprised me. I found it pretty entertaining. I mean, it Hollywoodizes. It basically picks up from the box just getting put in the estate sale.
Oh,
and then it's just a movie from there. It's got very little to do with the actual events.
Do they manage to defeat the box?
Well, I guess I can't say.
Why not? Spoilers? All right.
There's not much to it in terms of the story that we've been telling and everything. But it's a good little creepy flick, I guess.
Yeah.
Not too many times that it was like super in your face scary. I'm so bad at describing things, especially succinctly, but I liked it. I liked it a lot more than I thought I would.
Sounds pretty bluff.
Yeah, it is. The movie focuses heavily on a demonic possession of a little girl, which is not at all in any of these stories.
Yeah.
But it works for the movie. Does okay. So I would recommend seeing it. If you're into this stuff, don't go into it thinking you're going to get the story in movie form of what we just covered. But it's fun in itself as a movie. You want to talk about some explanations of this?
Yeah.
What the hell this thing could be?
Right off the bat, it's all legit.
It's real. Yeah. Could be a malevolent spirit in a Jewish wine cabinet.
These ladies reached out, looked into the void. Void looks back and says, "I want some of that." And boom, now they've...
And then the ladies were like, nuh-uh, we're going to put your ass in.
Yeah.
Get in the box.
Yeah.
Be nice about it. Now, here's a good question about the story.
Okay.
The lady didn't seem to have any problems with it. But, I mean, she conjured it. So was it that the Dybbuk was bound to her? So it couldn't uck with her shit?
I think that they bound it in the box, put it in the storage. Well, they bound it to these artifacts. And then put the artifacts in the cabinet for storage.
Right.
And then didn't open it. So leaving it closed.
Right.
Yeah. So she didn't open it, and that's why she was like, "Don't open it."
Yeah.
So that's why I don't
just bought these light bulbs. Don't you dare.
How about it's a hoax?
Yeah.
How about it's just made up to...
Guy writes a fun story, wants to just sell a thing that he finds in an alley.
Yeah, could be that. Jason Haxton wrote a book about it, and then, like we just said, a movie came out a year or two ago.
Yeah.
So could it have started marketing for this stuff early, or it seems awful early to be marketing per se?
Right. I don't think it was marketing, but I think that if you don't buy any of it, which is completely okay, a guy just wrote a compelling, spooky story and found a really
Jewish
neat way to to get that out there. I mean, who would have thought to use eBay, a product description, as a venue for a work of fiction? I mean, that's
I could learn a thing or two from treadmill for sale, haunted by spirits.
Yeah, of a sexual nature. Girls come over to my house and they feel hot. They want their clothes feel clingy. They want to take them off.
They're always spilling things.
Yeah.
That's a weird side effect.
That's how you sell a treadmill right there.
Yep. Done and done.
You know, and whenever someone finds a unique way to tell a story, I'm really impressed. There was a woman who wrote a love story.
Oh yeah, J.K. Rowling.
As a boy who loved magic.
Agatha Christie.
She wrote the story where it was a love story. It was about these two people meeting and falling in love and how their relationship goes. But the entire thing is written as an auction catalog. Weird. And so you see the early lots in the quote unquote auction are an invitation to a party at a place, and a piece of a costume that one of or both of them wore, and things like that. The receipt from the restaurant where they went to after the party to grab something to eat, and so it's each individual lot, but it together it's a unique way of telling a story. And I think that this guy kind of did a similar thing. He was selling a product, but he was really selling a story. He was selling a narrative, and that's fascinating.
That's very cool.
I think that's really cool. So, true or not, it's great.
Yeah, yeah. Here's an explanation that's interesting. What if the thing is electromagnetic, or maybe even irradiated?
I listened to an interview where someone was discussing that, and it was talking about the at the end, sealing it in the ark with the gold.
Right.
They were talking about that it's not impossible that this item was irradiated or had some sort of residual energy to it, and that the gold in the sealing container is what was really helping that. That there was sort of a religious practice meets science, sort of like kosher foods, because those were full of parasites back then, so there's like a religious rule, but it's actually there's some good scientific reasons why it's done that way.
Apparently granite can hold radiation.
Yeah.
And this thing having a granite statue or stone inside of it, that could have something to do with it, but that also can explain some of the physical maladies that happen, especially hair falling out, bleeding or blisters.
Yeah, like connective tissue becoming weakened.
Yeah. And if it's electromagnetic, obviously bulbs blowing, electronics being messed with.
Yeah.
That goes a long way to explain that. But what about like the nightmares or the bad luck that's encountered with it?
Well, I mean, the people who experience nightmares had other negative experiences with it. And so, I mean, especially take the guy's example, like right off the bat, there's this weird thing in the basement, and she's reporting, I heard screaming and swearing and someone flipping out down there and breaking things. So he has this idea of violence in his head. Maybe it's power suggestions, like people who feel like they've been cursed will, through their actions, enact that curse upon themselves.
Crazy coincidence. All of the owners bought big old chunks of Gloucester cheese and just ate it all right before bed.
Right.
Like every time.
Every single one of them.
It's a coincidence, though.
Yeah.
I mean, keep Carl Jung in his grave. We don't need him for this.
Shut up, Carl.
A very interesting scientific way to look at it, the irradiated electromagnetic theory. Pretty neat, because they say the old Ark of the Covenant might have been some kind of nuclear device. The way they describe its power being used, the victims of it would get bleeding from their fingernails, hair falling out.
Their faces melt, dude.
Their faces melt, too.
That has been established in a documentary from the early 80s.
By Steven Spielberg and George Lucas.
Documentary.
It shows you how to fight Nazis.
That's right.
So it's also been said that the box is a box. It's the artifacts inside that bind the spirit. The box itself is just kind of the vessel in which it travels.
Yeah. I mean, it's destroying the box. I don't know. Best idea? Would that dissipate it? Worst idea? Set it free?
I would think set it free.
Yeah.
Make it a lot. I mean, you'd have to go through the whole rigmarole of binding it again.
That's a double or nothing bet right there.
Yeah. Although I think the odds are even less.
Yeah.
And what are the Vegas odds on dispelling a Dybbuk?
I'd have to ask my friend, Jimmy the Gooch. He knows that stuff.
So there you go.
There you are. We did it.
There's your
You're welcome, America.
Dybbuk box
And international listeners in Australia.
in a in a cat urine smelling nutshell.
Yeah. In a wine cabinet nutshell.
Yep. Don't
Boom.
open that nutshell
Don't do it. Leave that nutshell closed.
unless you're a stupid son of a bitch.
Or you are not superstitious.
Yeah. Again, whatever you put into it, you get out of it, I guess.
That's right. Oh, man. And look, and everything still works. Hello, microphone stand.
Ba-boom!
Crunch. My face.
I've never seen a microphone stand explode before. That seems pretty extreme.
It's funny because I'm getting a whiff of cat urine right now, and I just thought,
no, that's just me urine.
Okay.
I'm sorry. It's been a long night.
well, asparagus.
Yeah. Sorry.
Let's try to eat healthy.
Yeah, well, just
I
do me a favor. Don't open that cabinet right there.
This cabinet here?
Yeah, that cabinet there. It's the only cabinet there. Don't open it. I got
Oops.
rules in it. Great. You know what you set loose in my
God.
home?
What is all this?
Puns! Bum, 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 bum. Puns.
All right.
High production value.
Yep. We're nowhere
I'm-
as good as Topol.
Nobody is. That guy's awesome. Flora, do you want to do the first pun, or should I? I leave the choice to you, as you the most respectful to the Dybbuk Box.
Why don't you do the first pun for us? Why don't you bite the bullet and take one for the team?
It's no curse to do the first pun, but it's no great honor either. Yeah.
Can't help but feel like my Tevye is just Dracula in disguise.
Best new musical ever. Oh my God. Oh.
If I weren't a dead man, blah 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 blah.
All night long I'm sucking all the blood. Okay. First one is a movie. I'm coming out the gates. It's a movie review show where the guy normally would just says that every movie sucks, but there's something about him lately where he's actually been really supportive of everyone's filmmaking. It's called Siskel and Ebert. Yeah.
Gotcha.
It's the
I
good
see.
Dybbuk that attached himself.
Oh, good for him.
Yeah.
Oh man, did you see the blank look in my face?
I did. I saw that thing just hit the
Nice.
wall and not stick.
You put a good fuse on it. Is what happened. Wow. Okay. I've got a store that sells just building supplies,
Oh, good.
and it's just one type of building supply. Basically, it's called the Dybbuk Box.
Oh, nice. I see how that's. Dybbuk Box is a hard one to work in.
Yeah, but that's all I got.
Uh-oh.
I mean, I have another pun, but
For the Dybbuk Box, that's a.
that's yeah. You actually branched out some, and I applaud you for that.
Well, I had to. Had to. Well, did you, Flora? Do you follow sports closely?
All of them.
Good. Did you? There's this football coach in the NFL who they brought over from the European leagues, and he's having a really hard time. It's like every time he goes to a team, huge problems. Guys are reporting fighting, like wounds,
Wow.
cat pee smell, and they just finally they have to get him out of the NFL. His name's Coach Dybbuk. Yeah, it's now. Tell me I'm not playing with superstition by making a joke about the name of Ditka living in Chicago. Tell me I am not playing with fire.
Well, I'll tell you, I don't care. Oh, that's good though. I like it. All right, I'll round us out here.
All right.
I'll round us out with a bunt, a chip shot, if you will. I've got an improv theater.
Oh, I am already in love with this.
Yeah, it's an improv theater. Obviously, you walk in and it smells like cat piss.
Right. there's one thing that's drawing all these together. It's the redolent stench of cat urine.
Anybody who watches a show there gets pissed off.
Oh,
Kind of everybody's negative and
yeah.
a lot of denial and stuff there. It's called the Dybbuk Box.
Oh, wow. Good. Really well done. Better than a bunt.
Okay.
Better than a bunt. I mean, it's no home run.
Maybe it was an error on the other team then.
Yeah, you got a guy on base with that. That was solid.
Cool. Okay.
Oh,
Dybbuk
man.
Box.
Well, I guess the last thing in this podcast that reeks of cat urine is listener mail. Right off the bat, a new listener,
Uh-oh.
Gothzilla.
I
I love that.
Yikes.
Yeah, hooray for Gothzilla. I think that's baby Godzilla. She is decimating this city of listener mailtown.
Oh.
We got a pun from our Sleepy Hollow episode.
Yes.
A spectral Viking who has been on the Atkins diet. The breadless Norseman.
Oh.
Kaboom!
Nice.
Well played, Gothzilla.
Man, is the Atkins diet still a thing? Do people still do that?
In the Midwest, it'll always be a thing because it allows someone to do what they're already going to do.
Eat sausage.
And say they're on a diet.
Polish sausage.
My dad was on the Atkins diet. This is not a joke. It sounds like a bad nightclub joke. And we went out to eat one night, and he ordered cheesecake. And I was like, Dad, I'm pretty sure you can't eat that. He goes, it's the Atkins diet. I was like, I know, Dad. I don't think you can have cheesecake. He's like, no, it's cheese, Dad. It's cheesecake. Of course I can have it. He got really smug about it.
Not totally a bad thing.
Yeah.
With cutting out all the carbs and crap.
Yeah.
That if you want to lose weight, that'll do it. If you
Right.
want to also have a heart attack, that'll
But I think we've gotten smarter than the Atkins diet. Like
Yeah, I think
slow
so,
carb,
too.
better way to go. There's a lot of better ways to go that don't jack your cholesterol through the roof.
Yeah. Agreed.
Thinnest man with a heart attack. All right, Flora, why don't you dip into the old bag?
Yeah, we've got some mail from listener Taper.
Tapers, bring in the heat again. Why do I gotta sing everything?
Why not?
Yeah. Because America, that's why.
Taper brings out some interesting stuff from the Guy Fawkes episode.
Oh, yeah. He got deep on this.
He says that Shakespeare referenced the gunpowder plot in the Scottish play.
Oh, that means our man Taper is something of a performer.
Maybe, yeah. Which apparently premiered the summer after the plot went down.
Whoa.
Or failed to go down. And he says in a conspiratorial note, Shakespeare was related by marriage to almost all the conspirators, and the moneyman Thomas Percy was related to Shakespeare's former patron Henry Percy, wonderfully known as the Wizard Earl of Northumberland.
Hey.
Interesting. Very interesting. And
I'm sure that's all he has to say.
No, he actually...
Oh, what?
He points out someone else's puns. He says in the Harry Potter books, Dumbledore has his pet phoenix named Fawkes. Yeah.
I see where you're going there, Dumbledore.
Yeah. Neat. Thanks, Taper. That's
Technically,
fun
I'm
stuff.
surprised he's so well versed on Muggle history.
Yeah.
Was it though? Wasn't Muggle
Was it?
history?
I don't know. Fawkes could have been a Slytherin,
Why don't
maybe?
you tell me? Why don't you tell me, America? Won't you?
Hey, America.
I like to address.
I got your ear.
I like to address the country directly. Listen, America. All right,
Table of marbles.
and we have a magnificent missive from our friend Jen.
Oh. Jen, who put me in the penalty box.
But never again.
We did the episode just now
Yep.
that caused me to get in there. So
Yeah, see?
we
Boom,
learn.
boom.
We learn.
Yeah, slowly but surely. You might recall Jen's justice as being tough but fair. Tough
But fair.
but fair.
Tough but fair.
Oh, I see what you did. Jen loves to listen to our podcast, which makes her magnificent. But Jen, take it, maybe switch to the elliptical or maybe the stationary bike at the gym because you
Or
made
something with a seatbelt.
you make reference to falling off treadmills twice in one letter. So I'm just saying there's lots of options. The rowing machine. Good for laughing while you're doing it. That's a little... Can I get a quick the more you know sound? Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. And Jen's got a couple of pretty good puns for us here. From
Chester Couple Puns?
Chester Couple Pun. Chester Couple Puns. Chester Couple Puns! So in the Campfire Stories, talking about the poem that Flora closed us out with.
I remember that.
Mm-hmm. The little match girl.
Match girl.
Yeah, set herself on fire. Which she believes was the literary inspiration for the Alicia Keys song, This Girl Is on Fire. Also, I think this the author of The Hunger Games owes some money to the estate of that poet.
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah. And in the our Guy Fawkes episode recently.
I remember that one.
Yep. Guy Fawkes gets busted. Could have blown everything up and blew it. Not literally, like blew it in the colloquial term, because if he'd blown it literally, he would have not blown it. How's that for
So he
circular
actually
logic?
did blow it.
He blew it by not blowing it.
Right.
Yeah. Wow.
Beluga will.
Yep. So he's put on the rack for torture to divulge information, and she hopes he didn't stretch the truth too much.
Ow.
Oh, torture puns?
Redundant.
You're dark, Jen. You're dark, and I like it.
You go places few of us tread.
Yeah. Also, we now have a tour guide for the fair city of Philadelphia.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Never
so-
been to Philly.
Yeah, and she actually knows the real truth of, say, the Liberty Bell, as opposed to the lengthy pile of bullshit that I rattled out once. So, thank you, and yes, we will be celebrating both Christmas and Hanukkah, because why not? Or Blurmas and Fotaka.
Sure.
I like Blurmas.
Fotaka. Sounds like a Mexican H.
Yeah. I love it. So thank you, Jen. Thank you for writing in.
And
Thank
if you're
all
on
of
the
you.
floor at the gym right now, just start throwing water on people.
Yeah, just
Why not?
Just get up and say, you know I do this. You've seen me. Quit looking.
I'm on the Atkins diet.
Maybe get like a helmet. Like wear a bike helmet on a treadmill. That'd be pretty cool. It'll at least keep dudes from harassing you. Or encourage it. I don't know.
I don't know what they're into in Philly.
But hey, you know what? I applaud your commitment to fitness in spite of very real threats to your safety. Way to go, Jen. And thank you for listening.
Yeah, thank you guys. Thanks for writing in.
Then keep it coming. Do not be afraid to continue writing us. Any of you. All of you. You know who I miss?
Bob.
Bob. I miss Bob.
Peyton Bob.
Peyton Bob. What you doing?
Some more puns,
What
Bob.
you up to, brother?
Where you going?
You know who else I miss?
Greg Bach.
I miss Greg Bach. Mm-hmm. I know what you're up to. You're up to being funny. I wish that you would do a show in Chicago, or that I had the opportunity to get up to Milwaukee when you do a show.
We should go up there, though.
I
We should
fully
go up there.
agree with you. You know what else I miss? That's it. It's the only things I miss in this world. Okay, we could have probably
You know what Grey Cat misses?
Yeah, I could have used some fancy cat this week.
Yeah, but
What does he miss?
He's not going to write in until you give him his certificate.
Oh, shit.
He's the king of
sorry.
Halloween.
He is the 2013, let it be known far through the land that he's the 2013 king of Halloween. And don't be a dick and ask him to prove it, because at this point he can't, because I have not given him the certificate that I promised, because that makes me a bad person and I'm a horrible person.
Gong gong.
Oh, man. Thank you so much. You guys are the very best.
You.
Now quit punching me in my dreams. It's just rude and I won't have it.
I don't want to show up for work and explain these.
Come on, y'all.
What you can do, though, if you don't want to haunt our dreams, go and haunt our iTunes.
Please do.
Leave us 5 stars. Leave us a review.
Uh-huh.
That makes us look legitimate, like we know what we're
be
doing.
all like Dybbuk Box, more like Dybbuk Rocks. Yeah. Boosh, boosh,
like a
boosh,
son.
boosh. I find David Stecco and David Flora sexually attractive, and I am a very attractive woman myself. Unfortunately, my job and my geographic location preclude the possibility of me engaging them in a more meaningful dating relationship. But other ladies who might live closer should definitely pursue that. That
We
is
just did your work for you.
verbatim exactly what the review should say. You're welcome.
And after you're done there, head on over to Facebook, like us. We're on Blurry Photos Podcast there.
I won't tell you how to do that.
YouTube, we're on there too. Still Upon, we're on there too. You can follow us on blurry_photos on Twitter.
Yes.
And, of course, besides all that social media bullshit that they watch you do every day, sitting in their government-supplied office cubicles, what you can do even better than that is tell somebody about us.
Yeah. If people listen to their friends for reasons I'll never understand, but they do.
They'll listen to you more than any Facebook thing, like, hey, you should go listen to that.
Man.
Nobody pays attention to those. Nobody pays attention.
Yeah, or do that really dick Facebook move where you're like, oh my God, so excited. And that's it. And then everyone has to come like, oh, what happened? Hope it's good.
Oh,
then
you want some attention?
Right. And then you can be all like, oh, OMG, Blurry Photos are my new BFFs. Wee!
Everybody go like
smiley face. Link to our podcast.
I don't care what you do on Facebook. If you link to us, that's great. You're awesome.
I just got done saying I wasn't going to tell people how to do Facebook, and then I did it.
Curveball, man.
I'm unpredictable. I'm a loose cannon.
Anyway, that's it for this episode of Blurry Photos.
That's right.
I have been sold on eBay as David Flora.
Oh, nice. And I am David Scutagera Coleoptrata Stecco. Yeah. That puts me up to like 5 times in my life. That's come in handy. That's it.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right.
If this were a podcast.
Bye.